I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring a powerful book. It is called Surviving the Pandemic, the Post-COVID-19 Church. It's written by a terrific author, Bishop Dr. Tate Martin. In this eye-opening book, the doctor explores how COVID-19 has reshaped the way we worship and the future of the church as well. Discover how faith communities can navigate the challenges of this post-pandemic era while staying spiritually strong and connected. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, thank you so much for being our guest here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford.
You have been a clergyman and a pastor for decades. I'd imagine one of the most challenging times during your tenure as a church leader has been during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, sir, it has. Definitely challenging as a pastor, as a clergyman of the gospel for the people and just family members, period, that died during that era, and friends. It was a trying time for me.
Yeah. People were dying, people were isolated, and people couldn't even go to church. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
they couldn't have funerals, they didn't have wakes. How did you keep your flock together during this time?
Well, for me, Mr. Crawford, it was tough because my people are used to coming to church. We're a small church plant. I've been pastoring 35 years, and I planted this church almost 19 years ago. As a matter of fact, we celebrate our 19th church anniversary on this Sunday. And so the statistics show that the average startup church only lasts 2 years. We've been here, almost say eight going on 19 years. And so it proves that a lot of things that I write about in the book, that if you follow those examples that I wrote about, you can be successful. And so that's what helped us to make it through the COVID era. Technology was starting to really pick up. And so because of that, and I'm also a teacher, also. So we had to do Zoom, teaching our kids by Zoom. Well, the same thing happened with the church. And you do know that when COVID hit, we all became the same. And that was what really prompted me to really write about, to actually turn to work. Then in 2013, when I started this research, took me 8 years. I got my doctorate from Regent University, Dr. Pat Robinson. Um, God bless his soul. It was very instrumental going to that school, and I did not realize that when TBN saw the manuscript, that this work I started was actually about the COVID-19 church, because yeah, I wrote through my experiences. I wrote about all the things that the small church experiences in startup and in trying to survive. Well, we all became small in 2020, and so it was befitting for this work as research to be turned into a book. And God really blessed her. He gave me the title in 30 minutes. And the design, I designed the book cover, TBN trilogy. They revamped it. It was a great experience for a small church pastor, um, sir. And losing my mom 6 months prior to this, it was really moving. Um, when I got the call to be able to go ahead and go forward with the work. And so she died in 2019, October 2019. COVID was actually here. We just didn't know it.
Right,
Yes,
exactly,
sir.
exactly. Let's talk a little bit about your book. Who is the target audience, and what will the folks at home who buy this book find within the pages once they open the covers?
The target audience is everybody,
Yeah.
mega churches and small churches, because as I said, when COVID hit, we all became small. The mega churches had to broadcast with nobody in there. Everything was remote. And you do realize that some of the churches that went against the CDC, many of those church pastors and their congregations suffered loss. Many denominations, like the Church of God in Christ, lost over 100 and something bishops and elders because they kept having services, and many members died. Right, my hometown is Texarkana. We lost a lot of pastors in Texarkana, a lot of members in Texarkana worldwide because we were not following the CDC requirements. This thing was real. I believe in God. I believe in the movement of the Holy Spirit, but I also believe in common sense, medicinal purposes that's going to help us to survive. And so, because of that, I was smart about it, and we were able to make it through. And so, I wanted the people who read this book to understand that we're still in a pandemic because it's mental. If you look at today's statistics, it shows the Barna reports read not too long ago is that when it hit 52% of the small and large churches never rebounded and came back. And out of those churches, now they're still here, 33% of the congregations don't even go to church. They don't even look online anymore because some have questioned if he was such a good God, why did he allow so many people to die? That's been a question asked by many people. And so they're falling away from the faith. They lost their belief in God. They've lost the belief in themselves. And so they still live in fear. And I want people who read this book, it's an easy read, but it can really help you to kind of get confidence as we survive because we're going to be in this pandemic. It's here. So we've got to know how to survive it because that's why I named it the post COVID-19 church, because we're in the post era. We got to keep moving forward. That's the only way we're going to make it.
Right. Tell me how COVID-19 still impacts the way churches function today. You mentioned that a lot have closed and that the congregations are smaller in attending services, both in person and online. So, what do we do as members of the church community to stay strong, to stay engaged, and to continue to worship as we have for, centuries?
Well, I think one of the key points is Hebrews 10:25 says, "Forsake not the assembling of the saints." We've got to come back to church. I had many notes that I was just going over earlier today and just looking at them. We've got to find a way to bring our people back to church to fellowship. It is not the same looking at it on TV, online. It is not. We need that love. We need that camaraderie in order for us to come together to feel that closeness. The only time that we get a chance to see most of our people on Sundays, because really Wednesday night Bible studies are no longer in existence. We do our Wednesday night Bible studies on Zoom. It's not it's because of the work ethics, because of all different things that COVID-19 brought to the table. It exposed us as not only Christians, but it exposed the whole world. And so we've got to continue to come up with innovative ways to invest in our communities, in our small churches. Sir, I'm I am a small church pastor, but I'm a mega pastor, and that's the one thing that Dr. Robinson tried to instill of all of the students that came through Regent was that size doesn't mean it. It's not about the size. It's about the quality of worship. It's about the quality of the leadership. It's about the character of the leadership. And you know for yourself how over the last few years how pastors have things have happened to pastors that have characters have come forth through this COVID that has not been profitable for the church. And so that's another reason why people have left the faith because they lost faith in us. And I talk about that in one of the chapters about the pastor is the leader. If the head is not right, don't expect the body to be right. And that's the reason why I'm so blessed and thankful to have even to have men and women like yourself who have achieved in other areas of life and careers, but yet you see the need for the love of God. Because if it wasn't for God, your career would not be what it is today. I've read, I've seen you many times, and I'm so honored to be able to be a part of your show. But just the things that you've gone through in life, you know for yourself, if it wasn't for that higher being that the God that has helped you to make it, you wouldn't be here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also some of my best memories, particularly in my childhood, are getting up on Sunday morning, putting on your Sunday best, going to church, seeing friends, family, neighbors, and other members of the congregation, getting a meal afterwards. I mean, this is a great ritual. I mean, particularly in the South, it's very, very strong. You know, that people
Yes,
get
sir.
together like that on Sunday, and it's, you know, you do feel like you're in a blessed place. You know, the Bible Belt is the Bible Belt for a reason. And to lose that because of this awful virus, I think is terrible. And bad things do happen to good people. That's
Yes, sir.
always been a question that the faith people of faith have had, but it has to do with free will. I mean, we're not puppets on a string, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Wow. It's awesome, for you to tell your story because many people look at our celebrities and they look at our well-to-do people as people that have no flaws, that have not gone through anything. But your character is built through the things you go through.
Exactly.
And if you're honest to tell your story, I meet people all the time. I met a young lady yesterday in Mordell's. My book is not in Mordell's yet, and I'm going in there, and they know me. But it's political, you have to get. But I talk with them, and this young lady is an ambassador for Christ for the U.S. Congress, and I told her, I said, "You're a young lady. Nobody knew who you were, but God saw fit to place the right person in your presence." Miss Opal Lee, of course, you know her. She's the grandmother of Juneteenth, and this young lady volunteers with her. And I promised them, I said, I will send you guys both an autograph book and Miss Opal Lee to them because I see the work that they've done. They've worked hard. And so again, big things come from small places. And that's the one thing that I love about the book. I love about my track, coming from being a professor, being a collegiate athlete to the military, disabled veteran, to pastoring all these years. I have a plethora of accomplishments. They might not be mainstream as you see other mega pastors, but they're so important because I'm touching an area, I'm touching a group of people who don't get that opportunity to reach a pastor, to touch a pastor of that magnitude. And so that's so important to me, that God continue to use me. And through this book, I've witnessed that, and I know there's many more things to come with this because I'm not done. I'm actually on part two of the book. That's going to be my life experience through the pandemic. I have a series of sermons that I preach through it, and those will be a part of the book I write about. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So part two is coming to surviving the pandemic, and this one will
Yes, sir.
focus on the sermons you gave during that COVID-19 era and how you
Yes,
helped sustain people during that time.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
wonderful, wonderful. We're looking forward to that as well. The book we've been primarily focusing on today is Surviving the Pandemic, the Post-COVID-19 Church. It is a profound book, an important book, a faith-renewing book. And this eye-opening book, the doctor delves into how the COVID-19 virus has reshaped the way we worship, as well as the future of the church. It is a must-read for people and followers of Christ, and for people who want to get reconnected once again with their congregations and their churches. And I know the pastor echoes my belief in this, that it's important that we all go back to church. Doctor, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a blessing.
It's a blessing to talk to you. God bless you. Thank you for your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.